Hi friends, my name is Ala and welcome to my YouTube channel. Today we will make a sketchbook tour and I will show you some of my works that I did about Granada city. We will make some urban sketches tour from Granada. In Granada we have been in 2018, so we visited this place a long time ago, pre-pandemics, and all the paintings that I'm sharing over here are taken from my own pictures, from my own gallery that I have. And I decided to go with Granada mainly because I really love this city and I want to come back once there will be a possibility. And closer to Granada there is Cordoba, and we haven't visited Cordoba. For this reason I think that we will come back, we will visit Cordoba and maybe once again Granada, because we have visited other places like Malaga, Nerja and some other places over there. Granada. Granada is a city that is located in Andalusia. And if taking into account that Granada city has a very long history behind, it is a region that today is known as Granada, but it has been populated since at least 5,500 years BC. And throughout the years it experienced the Roman and Visigothic influences. Then the most famous time when Granada was very well known, and for example this Granada Alhambra was built, it was during the Nasrid dynasty, when the Granada was an emirate of Granada. And if we are talking about the history, it is about in 12th century. In 1492, the last Muslim ruler in Iberia left the place, and the Emirate of Granada surrendered the complete control by Catholic monarchs. And this is the year when Granada will be a Catholic. If we are looking into a closer view of Alhambra, because of having so many different rulers with so different cultures, everyone created a very unique and very beautiful structure in Alhambra. For this reason, if you are going to Granada, it is worth to stay one day more and to visit only Alhambra one day only. This place is known as Mirador San Nicolas, and it is located in Albayzin. Albayzin is the region in Granada, and it is like old town of Granada. And when you are going here on Mirador de San Nicolas, you will see the panoramic view of Alhambra. It is not really close by, but the view is amazing. If I would have the opportunity that I would have my sketchbook with me, I don't think that even though I would paint this beautiful view, because in Mirador San Nicolas there are so many tourists, and I'm not kidding when I'm saying that there is a queue to take a panoramic picture of this place. If you want to take beautiful pictures, you have to take some time and to come to visit over here with some time. Moving next, I decided to go and to paint Alhambra closer view, and specifically I have painted this side over here. So it is just zooming up the same place, but a little bit painted a little bit different. So what is Alhambra? Alhambra is a palace and fortress complex located in Granada, as I mentioned, and it was constructed as a small fortress in 889 our days, and it remains it has remained from ancient Roman fortifications, and it was one of the places that was rebuilt in mid-30th century by Nasrid Emir Mohammed bin Al-Amar of the Emirate of Granada, and he was the one who was in charge to build the current palace and walls, and it converted it into a royal palace. If you will listen the history of these Alhambra palaces, you will hear and you will understand why this place is so beautiful. On this fortress, the idea of the Muslim ruler was not only to create a fortress that will be a place to spend like in a fortress, but as well it was basically prepared to be a masterpiece. And all the palaces were created by professional architects, mathematicians, and was done with lots of details and interesting parts that it is just interesting to see, to watch, and to listen its history. And we are moving on next to Generalife Gardens. Generalife Gardens, this place can be found as well inside of the Alhambra already. So in this place, this and my next few paintings are about Alhambra Palace. I stayed really impressed about this place, and when one of my colleagues recommended me to go over there, I decided, okay, it's another just typical touristic place to visit, but no, when you are going over there, you see it's like a huge masterpiece. For example, if you would read Moorish poets, those will describe this as a pearl set in emeralds, an allusion to the color of its building and the woods around them. The palace complex over here, it's not about only one palace, but it has several palaces, several gardens, and it was designed with the mountainous site in mind, and many forms of technology were considered. For that part, it was like the highest quality technology were used in these palaces. The park, Alameda de la Alhambra, it was overgrown with wildflowers and grass in the spring, and was planted by Moors with roses, oranges, myrtles. So the feature was to have a lot of greenery in this palace, and as well to have water. There were different basins, different lakes that was filled with running water, and the idea was not to refresh only the city, but as well to have different melodies of this water. When the palace when the Alhambra became the palace of Moorish people, there were living almost 5,000 people in this place. So you have to imagine how many people were living over there. All of the people had to have water, to have a specific food, and this place had to be prepared to maintain the living of so many people inside of this palace. All the water inside of Alhambra was supplied through a conduit of 8 kilometers long, and which is connected with Dara and the monastery of Jesus del Valle above Granada. Most of the palace buildings are quadrangular in plan, and with all the rooms opening onto the central court. So each palace has a central court inside, and the whole reached this present size simply by the gradual addition of new quadrangles. And all the palaces were designed on the same principles through varying dimensions and connected with each other by smaller rooms and passages. Alhambra itself was extended by different Muslim rulers who lived in the complex. However, each new section that was added below followed the consistent theme of paradise on earth. So column arcades, fountains with running water, reflecting pools were used to add to the aesthetic and functional complexity. And in every case, the exterior was left plain and austere. Sun and wind were freely admitted. Blue, red, and golden yellow, all somewhat faded through lapse of time and exposure, are the colors chiefly employed. And the name of Alhambra means the red one or the red castle, which refers to the sun-dried bricks that the outer wall is made of. And moving next, we will go to the inside part of Alhambra. And this painting I have done lately, but actually it was one from the first parts of Alhambra when you enter to visit it. And here there are different decorations, because here on the decorations that are considered for the upper part of the walls was Arabic inscriptions, and mostly all of the times are poems and other praising the praisings that have been created here on the walls. It was interesting for me to create this sketch mainly because this is myself and with kids, and this is my small kiddo that it is in front, and here there is a fountain that I haven't painted. We thought that Alhambra it's all about this place, and we stayed here more than half an hour, but then it is just the entrance, and there are so many things to see and to visit in this palace that we were amazed of the quantity of how many places you can visit over there. And changing to another sketch, I am going again with Alhambra, and I think that yes, this is the last thing about Alhambra. And what I wanted to add over here is that the palace complex is designed in the Nasrid style, and it is the last blooming of Islamic art in the Iberian Peninsula. And they had a great influence on the Maghreb to the present day, and on contemporary Mudejar art, which is characteristic of Western elements reinterpreted into Islamic forms and widely popular during the Reconquista in Spain. This last sketch from Alhambra represents the Generalife, the Palacio de Generalife, and its pools. This is one of the outlining buildings connected to Alhambra, and the foremost in interest is the Palacio. It is the Palacio de Generalife, and this villa dates from beginning of the 14th century, but has been restored several times. This villa commemorates by its time the Christian slaves who were forced to build the Alhambra and confined here in subterranean cells. A very interesting fact about Alhambra that I haven't been mentioning, that water was provided to both the Alhambra and the Generalife by the Sequia Real, also known as the Sequia del Rey or Sequia del Sultan, which still exists in large part today. It draws water from the Darro River at an uphill location in the foothills of the Sierra Nevada. It is about 6.1 kilometers east of the Alhambra. I was watching a documentary after having been to this place, and it was interesting to watch this struggle that they get to the water supply system, and how many engineers and mathematicians were working on this to create a paradise on earth in this Alhambra. Moving next, let's move to the Albayzil, the place that I have mentioned to be one of the oldest places, and it is called as well Old Town of Granada. I decided to keep it simple in this specific work, mainly because I decided first to draw only with my Micron Pigma pen, but then I decided to bring some color, and I thought that it would be great to bring some greenery, because Granada, it is such a hot city if you are going into summertime, and there is almost no place to stay. Like for example in Barcelona you have the sea and you can breathe the air, fresh air. Here in Granada it is really difficult to get fresh air in the summer. So I think that this greenery that is planted all through the city creates this kind of oasis for the city itself and for the people to live in this city. I decided to go as well to paint with red the top of the house, but then I decided not to change it and to keep it simple with only ink pen and some brushes. And what I wanted to show you about this place, that this view that you have over here is seen from over here, from these balconies, because straight behind this part, these gardens, we have the Albayzin, the old town of Granada, that is clearly seen. Moving next, we have Tablao Flamenco Albayzin. This Tablao Flamenco Albayzin can be found straight on your way up to Mirador San Nicolas. So once you are going up to this Mirador San Nicolas, on your way you will see Tablao Flamenco Albayzin. And close by there is another Mirador, but it is not in the Alhambra, it is in all the city of Granada, the new part of the town. I'm sure that many of you know, but maybe some of you don't know, that flamenco is based on the various folkloric music traditions, and specifically in southern Spain. So if you are coming here to Barcelona, yes, there are several restaurants who can offer the flamenco dancing, and people know that tourists love a lot, but this music and dancing, it is the most authentic in Andalusia. Andalusia is the home of flamenco. The oldest record of flamenco music dates in 1774 in the book Las Cartas Marruecas. And also flamenco is associated with Gitano ethnicity, who have contributed significantly to its development. So its origin and style are uniquely Andalusian. And flamenco artists have historically included Spaniards of both Gitano and non-Gitano heritages. On November 16 of 2010, UNESCO declared flamenco one of the masterpieces of the oral and intangible heritage of humanity. So it is really good to know. Flamenco actually became popular all over the world, and especially in the United States and Japan. And the interesting fact that in Japan there are more flamenco academies than here in Spain. It is believed that the flamenco genre emerged at the end of 18th century in cities and agrarian towns of Baja Andalusia, and specifically highlighting the Jerez de la Frontera as the first written vestige of this art. But there are practically no data related to those dates and the manifestations of this time, and it is typical of the Bolero school then of flamenco. And as well, there are hypotheses that point of the influence of flamenco of types of dance from the India subcontinent and the place of origin of the Romani people, such as the cat-hawk dance, but also there are songs from Black Memory shows the African influence on the rhythm and choreographies of flamenco. So there are many different cultures in this dancing, and there's many possibilities that it is a multicultural dance. Moving on, my next sketch, it is about Restaurante Los Diamantes. Los Diamantes, it is a very famous restaurant in Granada, and it is famous because of its very good tapas and very enjoyable drinks. Personally, I was advised to go to Restaurante Los Diamantes by my colleague. He went to Granada and told me that it is one of the most famous restaurants with very good tapas. And when I have looked on Google, indeed, when I written down Bar Los Diamantes, it is called Las Mejores Tapas de Granada, which means that the best tapas you can find over here. Indeed, on TripAdvisor, it has a very good rating, and we really loved the food in Los Diamantes. The only thing that I didn't like, it was the queue that we had to stay. It was 1 p.m. and we were with both kids, and we were hungry, and we had to stay in the queue to wait for a place to be free and that we can come up with kids to eat. What means tapas? Tapas is where you are buying, for example, a drink and then you get for free a tapas. So this means tapas. And usually in Granada it is very common food that you are basically buying only drinks and the food is coming in a very small plate, but there is enough quantity that you are not getting hungry by overall. I decided to paint Restaurante Los Diamantes just for fun and to remember this place that we have eaten over here, even though it's nothing very different to any other restaurant, but I decided to restay it, to leave it like a memory. And moving next, because we are talking about tapas, I decided to paint some tapas over here. The most famous tapas that you can find in Spain overall, not only in Andalusia, but specifically in Andalusia, it is paella, obviously, olive oil, gazpacho. Gazpacho is a tomato soup, but it is a cold soup, and usually it is eaten in summertime, and it is really refreshing, and when you eat, it's just amazing. And huevo roto con patata y jamón, which means that the egg is not is with jamón and with some potatoes. Very delicious food. Everything that I have painted over here I love a lot, and if you come to Spain I really advise to try each of the tapas that I have painted over here. Moving next, we are coming up to the Albaicin region. Albaicin region is the old town of the Granada. The Albaicin is one of the oldest centers of Muslim culture in Granada and contains the Alhambra that we were talking till now, the Rialejo, which was the Jewish quarter, and the Arabile, the Bib Arambia, in the flat part of the city. Before the Muslim conquest of the Iberian Peninsula, there were 3 small settlements in what is now the city of Granada and its surroundings. Liberis, Elvira, later called Albaicin and Alcazaba, Castilla, near the present town of Atarfe, Garnata, on the hill opposite the Alcazaba, which was more a neighborhood of Liberis. However, current archaeological researches indicates the Medina Elvira was located in Atarfe when the city's population was moved to the Albaicin after the fall of the Caliphate of Cordoba in the 11th century. The most amazing part of this region, of this part of the city, is the traditional type of houses in the Carmen, consisting of a freestanding house surrounded by a high wall that separated from street and including a small orchard or garden. Many houses were transformed into very beautiful bars, cafeterias that are going outside with lots of greenery on those. This bar catched my attention when we were going to Mirador to see the Alhambra, and I really loved this place. Meanwhile, we were walking on the Albaicin, on the old streets. Obviously, we have seen some old doors of Albaicin, and I felt in love with this old door, and I decided to paint it as well. And here it is my last work that I did from my trip to Granada. It is true that my trip was in 2018 and I have painted all these works recently. I don't know why, maybe I'm preparing now to go to the north of Spain and I'm so excited to go to travel over there and to paint some Spanish culture and Spanish different parts of the country, and it remembered me this place. And I really loved Granada. I enjoyed so much visiting this place. If you are coming up to Spain, I really advise to go to this city too. I hope you enjoyed watching my sketchbook. I'm preparing more sketches for you, and many of the sketches I do on the place, but as well I have lots of pictures from my previous travels. I have a lot of pictures on my future travels that I prepare for my future travels and that I'm getting inspired of. And later I will share with you more paintings from different places. So keep in touch, thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and wait for my next videos that will come up soon. Thank you, bye!